Sports Day for Kia. The all-new Kia Sportage has been unleashed. And Red Energy, awarded CanStar's most trusted retailer nationally for 2021.
7 minutes past 6. Hello, welcome along to Sports Line. Sports Day, the new Harcourt's open line. Scoop is 133693.
I don't mind that as a show. Sports Line. We can rename it.
We should run with that. The Harcourt's open line is 133693. I will get that by the end of the year with that question. Give us a call if you've got any thoughts on the Australian Test squad, because it has been named. It's out. And shortly, for the very first time on this program, we're going to be talking to Nick Hockley, the new CEO of Cricket Australia. And hasn't he got a little bit on his plate?
Tell you what, we've been asking for all these big guests for the best part of 6 weeks. And suddenly you come back from holiday and they all agree.
Funny about that. Nick's not far away from joining us. Any surprises in the squad?
No, not really. I mean, what it's basically shown is that it's Khawaja v. Head for the pick for number 5.
Yep.
You would think. Mitch Marsh is in the Australia A squad, which will raise some eyebrows, but he's always been not always, but he's mostly been a short form player. Jared, just before we get to Nick, can I just give you 60 seconds of footy? Mick Warner at the Herald Sun sat down with Jeff Brown, the Collingwood presidential aspirant himself, and he's essentially said that the first thing he'll do when he gets president of Collingwood is call for a review of the footy department soft cap, and also a reversal of the $2 million distribution cuts that the rich clubs give to the poor clubs. And he's gone on to tell Mick, as a quote, strong clubs like Collingwood should not be required to hand over any of their hard-won revenue to effectively repair the balance sheets of other clubs. That's a fairly strong stance, given the equalisation model that Gillon McLachlan has so tirelessly worked towards throughout his tenure. That's going to be fascinating.
Well, it's an early hand grenade from Jeff Brown. And one final one, Levi Casbolt, who broke the story a couple of days ago. It's since been followed up. Is he going to...
He's getting the jab now.
He's getting the jab.
He's getting the jab, which means that the Suns will take him. And his AFL lifeline continues.
Well, let's move on, because Nick Hockley has been good enough to join us.
He's had a big couple of weeks.
He has. Congratulations, Nick. Fantastic work with the World Cup. Welcome to the program.
Thanks, guys. And thanks for having me. And didn't they do well?
Indeed, they did. I take it that the coach has now got the full support of the board.
Oh, look, I think it's been a journey, really, and I have to say the way the whole squad's come together, JL, the assistants, the player leaders. I think the thing about this World Cup performance, they grew in confidence all the way through, and I think you just have to see the expressions and the atmosphere on everyone's faces. When they lifted the trophy, to see what an amazing team effort it was, and I think everyone contributed.
Well, I think that's probably so, and you don't win without full contribution from everybody. But it does appear as if the problems, and I don't think they were as savage as some like Michael Clark are suggesting, were at the time. But they clearly, whatever ills troubled them, has been sorted out, which leads us to the question: would you like to see Justin Langer continue on, or
surely
are you still sitting on the fence until we win the Ashes?
I mean, we've been very clear all along, and what we've said is that we're very focused on these upcoming campaigns.
Yes.
And we're one down, and it doesn't get any bigger than the Ashes. So certainly, we're all completely focused on that job, and then we'll sit down and we'll review, and we'll see where we go from there.
Nick, without being disrespectful, though, you can be focused on an Ashes series while still re-signing the coach. I mean, he's just delivered a World Cup. He's been under pressure that Jared's been talking about. He's got a former captain coming out and saying that he's going to walk as soon as the Ashes are done. I mean, Australian people want to know, is he there for the long haul?
As I said, we're focused in the job in hand. I've been very consistent all the way through. We've been very consistent all the way through. We're focused on the T20 World Cup. They've come together. They've done a magnificent job. Now we're focused on the Ashes, and then we'll sit down and review. So we're just it doesn't get any bigger, and we're very focused on the job in hand. But look, JL has he's done a magnificent job.
Yep.
I mean, the thing about this campaign is the leaders within the group have sat down. There's been some really honest conversations, lots of preparation, very clear on roles and responsibilities, and every single person, from JL, the assistants, and all the players, they've stepped up and they've delivered. And what we said is that all we can ask is that everyone fulfills their potential. I think they certainly did that.
I must admit, Nick, I think I'm most impressed with your performance. You should go into politics, in my view, because the Emperor, Mark McGowan, has been intransigent right the way through.
He's gone from the cowboy to the Emperor.
Oh, he's elevated himself.
Righto.
He has not budged, no matter whether it's been the Prime Minister, other people from other walks of life, other politicians around the globe, who have basically said we are going way too hard with our quarantine restrictions. We can't let tennis players into our state, and yet you have somehow got him to bend to your will, and the English only have to quarantine for 5 days. How did you get the Emperor to bend to your will?
Oh, well, look, I mean, I think the WA government have enabled sport to continue all the way through this pandemic. We played Big Bash matches last season, and look, it's been really positive discussions. There's still a fair amount of detail to work through. We're doing that at the moment as a priority, but really it's no different to last season, no different to footy, and the arrangements that we've put in place, they're very complicated. There's a huge amount of work that goes on behind the scenes, but ultimately it's about keeping everyone safe, but also providing the conditions, the absolute optimum conditions to play what is the pinnacle of world cricket. And we're not quite there yet in finalising all the plans, but certainly making a huge amount of progress. So
it's happening then, Nick. You're finalising plans. The Perth test is happening.
Certainly, we're working towards it happening.
Okay. Do you take the point of the opposing view that it's upset a lot of people, particularly in Western Australia, who spent the best part of 2 years not being able to see their families, and the fact that, whilst people continue in cricket to say that it's the same as last year with footy, it's actually not the same at all. The border wasn't nearly as closed, and those footballers had to do 2 weeks of hard quarantine, as did everyone else coming in.
Look, I mean, it's been a challenging time for everyone, and one thing that we've been very conscious of throughout, ever since March last year, is we'll do absolutely everything we possibly can to keep cricket going, because it brings so much joy to people. It brings the community together, and we've had great support all around the country, and that's certainly the case in Queensland, where the England squad, our players are now doing their quarantine, and through the very constructive discussions we're having with the WA government, it's also the case in Western Australia. So. But we're just very grateful for everyone around the country. It's so much harder to put on elite sport, particularly international elite sport, through this time. And thankfully things are opening up. Thankfully, we're looking at massive crowds for the Ashes. We've got the women's Ashes hot on the heels of the men's, and we couldn't do it on our own. We need the support of governments right around the country, and they've been fantastic.
Ashes squad was announced today, Nick. How'd you think George Bailey did with his first Ashes squad?
Oh, it's look, I think again we've just got a fantastic group of players. I think I look at the squad, and I think what you see a increased confidence across the group. You've got a number that haven't played much long form cricket coming in, so I think that's going to be interesting. Obviously the English, they probably played more Test cricket than anyone else through this period. But what's great is that people are being rewarded for putting their hands up in the Sheffield Shield, and I mean, it's fantastic to see Uzi in the squad, and I think probably the one exception is Will Pukowski. Who obviously had just such a tough time, but apart from that, everyone's available, and it looks a very exciting squad.
Well, it sounds to me, Scoop, as if Nick has just anointed Khawaja as the number five, which means Travis Head is the 12th man, Nick.
Oh, I'd love to say that's my job, but that's firmly in the hands of the selectors.
Hey, can you tell me why the Australian players are quarantining in Queensland on their return from the T20 World Cup rather than flying direct into New South Wales or Victoria?
Oh, it's simply because the first test is at the Gabba.
Okay.
And and look, and you know they're up there. They've got a fantastic setup and training hard. So not long to wait until that first ball, 8th of December.
So Nick, what are the quarantine conditions that the English players have agreed to entering Perth?
So we're working through all that as we speak. I mean, I think the conditions that we've had in Queensland are we've had access to training facilities throughout. People are able to mingle within their cohorts, and we're looking at a similar type environment over in Perth.
Will the wives and families be available to come out or able to come out?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as I said, the England squad have played more cricket than anyone else through this pandemic. I think they've played 18 tests since March 2020, and it's a long tour. And we're delighted to welcome the families are a really important part of that touring group, and so certain number of the players do have their families with them.
You're going to give us a prediction on the Ashes score?
Ooh. Look, I think the start's really important. I think both sides at full strength. I think it's Ben Stokes now being out here, and we only have to look back to Headingley 2019 to see how he can change a game. So
we're after a headline here, Nick. Is it 3-2? Is it 4-1? Is it 2-0?
What do you think, guys?
I'm saying 3-1.
Which way?
Australia.
So we've given our commitment. I'm backing Scoop. What's yours?
I think it's going to be very, very competitive. I think
Nick, you should go into politics, Nick.
No, Nick, you're too good for politics. You stay right there. Politicians in Australia haven't exactly covered themselves in glory over the last couple of years. That's a different topic. Nick, thanks for coming on. Good luck for the Ashes.
Thanks, guys.
Nick Hockley there, Cricket Australia CEO. So that's interesting. So Perth is basically happening.
Yeah. I have heard this. It's the same as the cricketers. Sorry, the footballers.
Well, no, it's actually quite different. And they're letting wives and girlfriends in.
Yeah, no, the Emperor's changed.
Let's remember,
no
one from the Western Bulldogs or Melbourne had wives and girlfriends in. And by the way, that's the reason that
yes, exactly.
That's the restaurateurs were found. Because a partner of a player saw them and on TV and complained.
And wasn't happy.
To the AFL.
What do you think the restaurateurs would be actually dining on as we speak?
They're both in prison, aren't they?
Yes. Wouldn't be what they serve up at their establishments, but that's another story, Scoop. Time for a break. What do you reckon he thinks we're going to win or lose?
I think he thinks we'll win. 2-0.
2-0.
So I've given Nick's prediction for him 2-0, and I'm going 3-1. More sports day after this.
Boring series.
Sports Day for Kia. The all-new Kia Sportage has been unleashed. And Red Energy, awarded CanStar's most trusted retailer nationally for 2021.
Sports Day, well, Scoop, it's fair to say our next guest could well be considered the Rock of Gibraltar, the Nathan Jones-esque of the Melbourne Football Club, and I'm talking about...
I like where you're going here.
Touk Miller of the Gold Coast. He has been so solid... more solid than most, under all manner of difficulties, and...
Well, not only has he been solid, Jared, he's gotten better.
He's actually hasn't got that much better. It's just that the competition has finally worked out how good he's been for so long. You're with me? Touk Miller joins us on the line after penning a 5-year deal with the Suns. Welcome to you, Touk.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Do you like that, the Rock of Gibraltar? I'm not sure. You might be even actually. There must be something else, but you've been a stalwart for that club, and you've been an absolute star. So we look forward to you enjoying some team success down the track.
Yeah, no, well, likewise, to be honest with you. I guess that's definitely why I signed on as well, though. Like, I want to see success at this club. Like, obviously we haven't had a finals berth, but I'm so excited to actually be there for our first one and have much more success after that. So it's exciting times ahead for us.
So you've watched, Took, in your time at the Gold Coast Suns, so many good players leave. What have you seen in recent times that they didn't?
I mean, everyone's a bit different in their decisions and where they want to be, but I don't know. I feel like for me, Gold Coast gave me just an opportunity to play football, and I just felt that we hit rock bottom for a bit there, and we haven't seen success. And I don't know. I just feel like the building blocks that we've created in the time that I've been there, with coaching staff, admin staff, players. I understand there's been a lot of turnover, but I feel like now we're finally at a point where we really have the building blocks to be a successful team and win finals and hopefully premierships. So, I mean, I felt really, really comfortable, and so did the club, about signing on for an extended period and trying to be part of that success going forward.
Well, we were discussing this last night. What's a pass mark for the Suns next year? We sort of settled on 10 wins. What would you give yourself? Is a finals berth now a pass mark for the Suns, or is it still too premature?
Look, I think 10 wins is probably really smack on, if we're being really honest, but a finals berth is obviously the ultimate goal. And I think, like you said, I think that 10-win mark and an opportunity to have a crack at finals berth, you just never know. I think if we get to those 10 wins and, finals is on the line, does that then change the dynamic of how you finish the season, which we haven't been able to do for quite some time very well. But if that is there and that, something that carrot is there to chase, then can we do that?
Took, I'm sure in your media rounds in the last 24 hours you've been asked a lot about the Hugh Greenwood situation, but I'll ask it in a different way. My co-host Jared is of the opinion that you at the Suns need guys like you at that age, at that size, to be able to help the young kids come through. You tell me if I'm putting words in your mouth, Jared. So you being the star midfielder of the competition that, could have won the Brownlow at one stage this year, how much harder does it make your job next year without Hugh there?
It's probably no one's really worded that question like that. I think it's not so much like, yes, we are losing a senior player, and I understand that, and someone who can play really hard, consistent football. But I think, when we're mapping out where we're heading as well, and I think Hugh was seeing that, is that our younger players are starting to mature now, and there's going to be really limited opportunity for him to probably play. And as we start to progress and become more successful, I just think that, where he probably fits into our team is probably not the same as it once was in the last 2 years. So, yes, I understand that, senior player and he can play a really hard brand of football, but I think we have a lot of players that are now maturing that can really fill those boots.
We've been hearing that for some years, and we're going to hold you to this next year, Took, because I think it is time that people started putting up or shutting up.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Honestly, I think it's definitely crunch time for us next year, and I can completely bear all the media attention for that. And I think that, there's a great opportunity for us to actually start to see some success, and I think everyone wants that, including the club and the fans and probably the AFL world as well.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think whilst there's a lot of criticism of the Suns, I think everyone would like to see some success up there, given that there's been so much, capital invested in the place and invested in the expansion. We've seen sort of some signs over various iterations of the club, but you can only look after what's in front of you now. Who needs to find their best form next year? Who do you think is ready to, push up for an All-Australian squad that has got the talent but hasn't had the consistency yet?
There's probably quite a few boys I could list, but I think that group around my age, in terms of, I'm talking like Lockie Rella, he's probably a man who's got a lot of talent and didn't have the best year that he wanted this year, but someone who has the capability to, break games open. I think some of our younger players, so like even, you look at like Jack Lukosius, even Benny Ainsworth, boys that are really talented footballers and play a hard brand of football. I think if they start to mature a bit more and play consistent footy, we can see some big stuff from them individually, and then obviously team success as well.
So, Tuco, I think a lot of Gold Coast fans would say that your signature is one of the most important at the club. You're there till the end of 2027, which is great. The other one, Jared, I'd say would be very close second behind Tuke.
Yes.
would be one Ben King, who's only 21. He's just ticked over 50 games. We know what this kid is capable of. He's kicked 89 goals in his first 50 games, which is a pretty good effort given his size. How important is he to the future of this footy club, and how much time are you going to spend in his ear making sure that he re-signs until the end of 27 like you did?
Yeah, look, he's a very vital part of our team. I've got to say, him along with other blokes, but I think in terms of where we're heading, and he's a key pillar in our team going forward and a key pillar for our success. And I think that he probably understands that as well. But I think rather than just being in his ear all the time and probably putting that type of pressure on him, it's more about probably creating a culture and a place that he wants to be at. And that goes for a lot of the other players like Isaac Rankin and Jack Lukosius and the likes, and where their names come up a fair bit. But I think if we have a place where they want to be and a place that they love and want to play for, then it should be quite an easy task to be able to put their pen to paper for them, because they want to play for this club. So, yeah, I mean, it would be unbelievable if he puts pen to paper like I did in the next, 2 months. That would be fantastic. But, we'll just have to wait and see. But hopefully we've put a lot of things in place to make sure that does happen.
So just before we let you go, so Jared sort of touched on it at the start of the interview, that in fact you haven't got that much better, but the competition has started paying more attention to you. Now, Jared will rave that he watches a lot of Gold Coast Suns games and does a lot for Fox. Jared, Took's last 3 seasons before this one, he had a combined total of 12 Brownlow votes.
Mm.
This year he had 17 in a season. So, Took, just be honest with us. Tell us in your own words. Did you get a lot better this year, or did everyone just start working out that you were pretty good?
No, I probably had a better year. Just slightly better, but
slightly
I'll be honest,
better.
I've been playing consistent footy for many years, and I just feel like I probably had my breakout year. So, but it was off the back of a lot of hard work.
You don't have to blow your own trumpet, Took. I've done it for you. Just move on. You've been a good player for a long time, and let's hope you've got another 5 good years left in you. All the best.
Thanks, Jared. I appreciate that.
Took Miller there, star Gold Coast Sun. He's re-signed until the end of 2027. They needed some good news, that footy club. They've got it. Now
It was
they need
amazing
to
that it
re-sign
came
Ben King.
out 24 hours after some poor news.
Oh, you're not suggesting that it was...
Good timing
the
by the
signature
media.
was hurried along.
Good timing. No, I'm sure the signature was already there, but the release was well timed.
Yeah, very well timed.
When's the draft on?
Next week?
Yeah, good timing.
They just need Ben King now. They cannot afford for that young man
Well,
to leave.
not just Ben King. I understand that, but there's always another Ben King, but we don't want to go through another generation, do we?
No.
If you're anyway aligned with the Suns, and, we're not strongly aligned, but I think if you like to see a lot of people who are doing a lot of hard work get success, well, as you said, Scoop, he's part and parcel of it, but you talk to anybody who thinks that they know what they're talking about down at the Saints, and he's coming home.
As we go, I think Simon Lethlean of the Saints certainly thinks so. As we go to the break, it's time for news headlines with Kiara Parker.
Thanks, guys. Making news today, former Labor MP Adam Somyurek's suspension from Parliament has been lifted ahead of tomorrow's vote on the government's controversial pandemic management bill. The Upper House MP has now disclosed his vaccination status, clearing the way for him to vote, casting doubt now on whether the legislation will pass. For a 5th day, protesters occupied the steps of State Parliament to voice their anger over the proposed laws, the Premier revealing he and his family have been threatened. The foster parents of missing boy William Tyrrell have been charged in relation to the alleged assault of a child, which is not William. The search in Kendall for the 3-year-old's remains continued today with extra equipment brought in. Professionals scored the biggest pay rise in the 3 months to September. According to the latest data, overall wages increased 0.6% during the quarter and just over 2% for the year. Australia has poured $100 million into quantum technologies in a bid to combat China's rapid advance in emerging sectors. And former Labor MP Craig Thompson has been charged by police, accused of being at the centre of a multi-million-dollar migration fraud. More news at 7.
Sports Day for Kia. The all-new Kia Sportage has been unleashed. And Red Energy, awarded CanStar's most trusted retailer nationally for 2021.
A sports update for Tyre Power, Australia's biggest independent tyre retailer, keeping you safe on the roads. Tyrepower.com.au.
Welcome back to Sports Day. Big news coming out of Switzerland. Le Matin, which is a Swiss publication, has Roger Federer saying that he's going to miss the Australian Open he's actually got him quoted as saying, Jared, I'd be incredibly surprised if I was playing again already at Wimbledon. So not only is he out of the Australian Open, but he's probably not playing Wimbledon.
40 years of age. That doesn't surprise. He may be trying to just give himself a long pre-season for one final crack. It won't be the French.
So that's the question, isn't it, Jared? Is it a lot of people are sitting there going, he's 40.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you be retired? The answer is he's going for one more.
He's going for one more. So
him and Rafa and Novak are all in 20.
If he's not going for Wimbledon, that precludes the French.
Not going for the French.
So he's having one final crack at the US Open. And then probably hangs them up.
So according
at 40
to
years of age, though, do you think he keeps going?
Well, you're the physio here, but according to his doctors, Federer says he'll be able to run slowly again in January.
Yes.
Be back on a tennis court no sooner than March or April. And then Federer's quoted as saying, I need to be very patient and give my knee time to heal. The next few months will be crucial. So he's obviously quite sore.
Say again?
He's obviously quite injured. I mean,
clearly he's injured.
But a lot of people in the tennis fraternity have been talking about he's got niggles, but he'll be okay and he'll get through it. And
the issue is
he's not even close to playing the Australian Open.
The issue is he a chance to win another one? And if he's not, why is he still playing?
Well, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Todd that said that story last night, Todd Woodbridge, about Tony Roach when he started coaching him.
Yeah.
Are you fit enough to win 7 best-of-5 matches in a row?
Yes.
Because that's what you got to do to win a slam. Right now, he's a long way away from that.
It's an incredible example, though. And I want to frame this in context to have a look at Geelong. Now, they have been under enormous pressure because of...
Only you could compare Federer and Geelong.
Well, it's not Federer. I'm going to digress.
Okay.
Did you see the ages of the Australians in the T20 World Cup victory team? The youngest person
How old was he?
was 29.
Really?
The oldest
Zampa.
person... It was 28 or 29. I'm pretty sure it was 29.
Okay.
Everybody was in their mid 30s.
Mid-30s.
A couple of 35. One was 35 was Warner. So everyone's jam-packed in that 31, 33, 34, 35.
So you're calling that the hitting zone now?
Well, I think what we're seeing is as professional sport evolves, mid-30s is when you start to get concerned.
You've been on this wagon for a long time that we need to be playing when older.
Absolutely. I mean, look what's happened. Who's the best quarterback in the world?
Tom Brady.
How old is he?
He's
I understand that.
73. It's a little bit different for quarterbacks, though.
But 40 for a tennis
They don't
player
run
with
a
a
lot.
crook knee, even though if he's, in some people's minds, the greatest of all time, you'd reckon he's just about ready to give it away if he's got a crook knee that takes 6 months rehab.
No, he's got one more left in him. And if Novak's not getting vaxxed, imagine if Rafa doesn't win it, they're all still going to be on 20. If Novak's not coming and Federer's not coming,
I reckon Rafa's not doing a few extra sit-ups.
Rafa
right
must
now.
be sitting there rubbing his hands together. More sports after this.
Sports Day for Kia. The all-new Kia Sportage has been unleashed. And Red Energy, awarded CanStar's most trusted retailer nationally for 2021.
Still feeling it a little bit, still a few symptoms. So we felt it's probably better not to rush him into this last game. Give him some time now. There's a bit of a break after this game, and we can look into how we perhaps support him through and almost get him ready for the block after the BBL. I think he didn't really even do a pre-season with Victoria, just with coming back from the shoulder. So maybe this is the right way to go about it.
That's Chris Rogers there, who's the coach of Victoria, talking about Will Pekowski's hopes of playing basically any role in this summer's Ashes series. He's continuing, you just heard from Chris, he's got a shoulder problem. He's continuing to suffer from concussion symptoms, which is really bad. And he's only, the good news is, Will is only 23, so he's got a long time ahead of him to work.
He's too young.
Well, on the
Australian
ages,
team.
did you get the ages?
I got the ages for the World Cup T20 team. Aaron Finch,
So if you're just
34.
joining us, by the way, this is adding to Jared's theory that we are peaking as athletes later than we previously have.
Well, your peak can go for a lot longer.
And we're peaking for longer.
Aaron Finch, 34. Pat Cummins, 28. Hazelwood, 30. Mitch Marsh, 29, just coming into his better form. Glenn Maxwell, 33. Steve Smith, 32. Mitch Stark, 31. Marcus Stoinis, 32. Matthew Wade, 33. David Warner, 35. Adam Zampa, 29.
Good-looking man for 32, the Stoin.
Well, it just goes to show that. I mean, take, for instance, Smith. Now, Smith's been around for a hell of a long time.
Yes, he has.
He is 9 years younger than Roger Federer. He's 31. He could be around for another 5, 6 or 7 years physically if he wanted to.
And it's
cricket is not as strenuous a game as tennis.
I was just going to say, it's not as though you could make the argument that cricket is as difficult on the body as tennis is.
So we haven't got our heads around this as a general rule in football.
But Fed is one in...
Can I just go to the football?
A million, yep.
So it's not the age that gets you. It's whether or not you lose your speed, or whether or not you lose your desire, whether or not you've got too many injuries. The age itself, as we've just shown you, you're probably getting better post 30 years of age if you can maintain your athleticism.
So, the footy's an interesting one. So the speed is often the thing that's talked about that goes first in footy, isn't it? You lose half a step.
Mm-hmm.
In cricket, it's usually, particularly batsmen, the eye.
They say the eye.
You lose the eye.
Yeah.
I wonder what it is in tennis. Agility?
Well,
the ability to move around the court, I assume?
Probably mobility, yes.
Mobility,
probably
agility,
eventually it gets hold of you. But, if you keep the hunger up, and I think that's what goes first for most people, if you keep the hunger up and the ability to go through training regimes week in, week out for the majority of the year, then you're going to be able to play a lot longer than we thought 10 years ago.
Jared, I want you to form a market for me.
Yes.
Okay. What odds can you give me of Roger Federer winning one more Grand Slam right now?
I'd say he'd be long odds.
Give me odds. Is he 10-1? Is he 50-1? Is he 25-1? Is he 100-1?
Well, what is he right now? Would he be in the top 10 players in the world still?
What's his ranking there, Lawrence?
Probably
see if Lawrence doesn't know that off the top of his head. Give me 10-1. I want 20-1. What's his current ranking? 16.
I'll give you 16-1. Money for Jam, this.
I'm having a unit on that. That's 16-1. One unit.
Sports Day for Kia. The all-new Kia Sportage has been unleashed. And Red Energy, awarded CanStar's most trusted retailer nationally for 2021.
Country Racing Update. The country is back racing strong again. Support local communities and visit countryracing.com.
Yes, and shortly we'll get to country racing, but gee,
Maggie Payne, she's on the line. She's about to get to her.
Roger got some supporters out there. They've come from everywhere. Big Joe used to make the best pizzas in Sorrento. He wants on. He wants 100 at 16s.
Joe's having 100 at 16s.
He's not getting laid.
Well, if he does, we'll spend a lot of money on pizza down at Sorrento. Someone just alerted me to the fact that Gideon Haigh apparently said on Insiders on the ABC on Sunday that when Pat Cummins made his debut for Australia 10 years ago, he was 18 and the youngest member of the team. And at the T20 World Cup, as you just pointed out, he was 28 and still the youngest member of the team. That is extraordinary.
It is.
Maggie Payne, speaking of extraordinaries from Country Racing Victoria, and we have 4 big country cups on offer this weekend. Maggie.
That's right, Sam. I'm just getting over Cranbourne on the weekend, and we keep rolling on in, and 4 big country cups, and one of them is the standalone Ballarat Cup on Saturday worth $500,000. So there'll be a few getting along to Ballarat, and the weather forecast is looking good this week.
Okay. Well, I think it's looking good for Saturday, maybe not the Sunday. Anyway,
we've got a major weather event happening at some stage over the weekend, but I'm sure it's going to be perfect in Ballarat. Who's going to win that Ballarat Cup, Maggie?
Well, Kieran Maher has thought of that, going for 4 wins in a row. This is the horse that was famously going to that derby. But I actually like one at odds. $34 it is currently. WT for the Patrick Payne stable.
WT.
It missed the Kyneton Cup. It came third behind Thought of That. And I think at those odds, it ran second in this race last year. I think you can't go past that.
Maggie's all over it.
That's the first time Maggie has put her reputation on the line.
I agree. Yeah, she's heard something here.
Maggie.
WT. Okay. Hey, Maggie, you'll be proud of me. I've made a commitment, and I might even try to bring Jared with me. I'm coming to the Healesville Cup in January.
Oh, well done, Sam. And you've got to bring Jared, and I'll be there too, because that's a fantastic meeting. They were supposed to run this weekend, but the race course has been hammered by that weather storm we had a couple of weeks ago, and they had big 100-year-old oak trees across the track, but they'll be right for January, so lock it in. We'll build up for a big meeting then.
Well, as long as Dosh isn't running, because Dosh should get a new first name. Lose your.
That's right.
Maggie, great to have you on. The Ballarat Cup on Saturday, it's almost sold out. 5,000 people heading into the standalone Metro meeting. It's going to be exciting. We look forward to it. We'll chat to you next week.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Good on you, Maggie. Maggie Payne from Country Racing Victoria. Brian joins us from Aspendale Gardens. You want to talk Will Pekowski, Brian? Welcome.
Hey, Jared and Sam. Listen, I'm just interested. Why is there no talk about the quality of these helmets then? If he keeps on getting concussion from deliveries, why aren't the helmets then being looked at and improved or whatever? I think it's a disgrace.
Well, they did. They went through a whole transformation. They have been improved. The technology, according to the ICC, Brian, that's a fair point, has never been better in these helmets, according to them.
We're hoping that Sean Graff on the master in charge of Victorian cricket tomorrow night, Brian, will ask him where the development of cricket helmets is at the present time. So it's a good point, and we'll try and get to the bottom of it. To Lang Warren, before the 7 o'clock news. Darren, welcome to you.
It's Darryl. G'day, Jared and Scoop. How are you?
Hey, Darryl. Well,
I heard today that Peter Moody got fined for telling Mark McGowan to pull his head out of his arse.
Well, I'm not sure he was as descriptive as that. But
Daryl's just got us off guard there.
The Cowboy or the Emperor, whichever name you'd like to go with.
The Emperor, you call him. Yeah.
The Emperor. The Emperor certainly was given some direct advice by Peter Moody, and Racing Victoria clearly didn't think it was appropriate.
$2,000 fine, and without putting words,
that's not really a fine.
Without putting words in his mouth, I reckon if Moods was on air right now,
money well spent.
He would have said money well spent. Good on you, Darryl. Hey, Jared, do you think if we gave the super producer Lawrence the task of getting the Emperor on Sports Day, do you think he'd come on?
I'm sure he would.
There's plenty to talk about.
Showed away from publicity before.
The AFL Grand Final, why they're playing the Test in Perth. I think it'd be a fascinating.
Why the rule change?
We could pile together all of the different times you called him the Cowboy and or Emperor.
No, the Emperor is a name given to him by somebody on Sky News.
Hang on, you've lifted the
I've
name.
Yeah, I've lifted.
Here I was
Paul
thinking
Murray, I think, calls him the Emperor.
Oh, Paul Murray. Yeah, fair. I haven't taken in a lot of Sky News in the last few years. Okay, well, yeah, okay.
So will the test be over there?
It's going to be interesting to see if that test actually happens and what quarantine they have to do.
Well,
because cricket people will continue to tell you that it's the same as the footy.
The Cowboy stroke Emperor has said 5 days.
Well, that's not enough.
Well, it is for him. I mean,
I feel sorry for
when you got an 86% rating and you've got no opposition, he could have said 3 days and still got away.
Is it actually 86?
It's about that.
Goodness me. See you tomorrow, folks.